Okay, folks, welcome to episode 4 of Mentors on Tap, where you ask the questions and we answer them. No frills, no fanfare, and no bullshit. Today we've got one that Steve can answer. Do I really need to have the source code for my apps?
You betcha. That's the short answer. The long answer, excuse me here. The long answer is a little more complex and a little deeper than that. Back in the old days when we used to write real software packages for people for their computers and their businesses or whatever, it always came down to, do you give them the source code? Do you not give them the source code? What did they pay for? Can they resell it? And it became a tiered pricing level issue for us in a lot of cases, to where if you wanted it cheap, all you got was the compiled product. If you wanted to pay a little more, you got the source code. And if you wanted to pay a little more, then you got the product, the source code, and the right to resell. These days, that's not such a big deal anymore because everybody's doing apps. So it's obvious that this is going to get distributed to a lot of people, or that's the intention at least. So then it becomes a question of who controls the app or the software. And we're seeing this more and more often. I'm getting phone calls from people saying, we paid a developer to create this app. We love the app. It works great. We've got 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 users. We need to make some changes to it, and we can't find the developer. It doesn't exist anymore. And in some cases, okay, well, you just have to remake the app now with the new features. But the other problem is a lot of the app developers have you develop on their account, or they develop your app on their account, and they hold the certificates. So you can't even make a change even if you have the source code. And this can be a serious issue down the road, especially if your client base, you need to make, how many apps stay stable, even for security reasons. Or advances in an operating system. iOS, with the latest iOS, there's a lot of apps that don't work anymore. And if you don't control that, or at least have a copy of it, and you can't find your old developer, or your old developers decided that, that app I charged you $500 for is now worth $50,000, pay me, you're kind of stuck. So you need to really be careful about who controls your certificates, who holds the source code, where is this escrowed or archived, so that you can get to it at a certain point if needed. And you would be amazed, and I'm constantly amazed at how many people simply don't maintain the level of control they need to over the things they're paying for.
It
So,
sounds like if the app is going to be something that's really key to your business, you need to go ahead and pay the extra bucks and make sure you have total control of it,
well,
or you're probably end up over a barrel later.
exactly. And it's not even so much paying the extra bucks these days. Now it's, you really need to have, if you're paying for development, you need to have a copy, yeah, of the source code at least, and most definitely the certificates. So if you don't have the certificates, you can't upload a new version anyway. So now you're stuck with the problem of creating a new app, and then figuring out a way to notify all the users of your old app,
Yeah.
that they have to uninstall that and install this to be able to push forward to the next version. It's, you might think, oh, it's a phone, it's not going to change, but it does. With the new versions of Android being released, new versions of iOS, you can get yourself in a very serious hole of having to start all over again, simply because you lost control of your app or your software. And it may sound, business people go out of business all the time, and you hire a one-off shop like me, and then I hit the lottery, you're going to have a real hard time getting a hold of me, because most cell phones don't work out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, because that's where I'll be fishing. uh, so you have to, take a lot of this into account. um, and I've seen it, the other extreme, where developers pass away. and instant loss of everything because nobody for his estate has any clue what any of this is, and it's, as far as they're concerned, it's just a computer and they chuck it. Well, now you're screwed again. So definitely, if you're going to be doing any kind of software development, app development, you really need to figure out a way to hold on to it yourself, or you're going to be really regretting it 6 months to a year down the road when you need to make a change and can't find a developer.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't do a lot with apps, so it would never even have occurred to me, but I can see how that would be, really vulnerable.
Yeah, it becomes the weak spot in your business, and if your business relies on your app and growing it, could you imagine? I mean, think about even just as late as Pokemon Go. What if you had, you know, you were some unknown company who had paid somebody to develop this app, and all of a sudden it started making $100 million a day, and you went, well, we need to make a change, and the developer goes, yeah, that's nice, I own this. This is mine. It's under my certificate. I have the source code. Good luck suing me. I have all the money.
Yep.
So
And unfortunately, there are guys out there that would do it just exactly that way.
there are definitely guys out there that will do that to you. Heck, there are still web hosting companies that will register your domain for you, and then when you decide to go somewhere else, hold your domain hostage.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many scam artists in the world right now that it's a little frustrating. That was the medium answer, and if you want the really long, scary answer, ask me on Facebook, and I'll tell you some horror stories. There are some real life examples that have prompted this.
Well, that's an interesting one. And as always, folks, we're always looking for questions. Catch us on Facebook, Twitter, on our website. Let us know something that we can either share with you or find out for you.